Hello, I'm Refashionista Sherry, and today we are going to transform this incredibly boring, plain black jumpsuit into something absolutely fabulous to wear for a fall. But before we jump into the tutorial, I got a quick question for you. Now, we are all getting older. It doesn't matter how young you are now. You're getting older. We all are. And I'm just wondering if some of you have had this experience like I have, where you're reading something or maybe you're working on a project and you kind of find yourself either moving closer or moving further away. That's what I do. I have to put my book and everything further away now. And yeah, is that happening to you yet? And I actually found a very thrifty, cheap solution. I got myself a pair of these readers from the dollar store, and these are the 1x readers, so it magnifies everything, you know, one time. And they're definitely doing the job, and you can see my eyes look a bit bigger, I think. Anyway, let me know down below if you are experiencing that and if you've done something similar like I have here. Anyway, let's get making.
Editing Sherry here, and I just have to show you the most perfect vintage Wednesday Addams style dress I scored at the thrift shop the other day, and we are going to use this as the inspiration for today's project. For this quick and easy Refashionista embellishing project, all you need is your plain black jumpsuit, blouse, or dress, plus a few vintage white doilies. So because I'm not at all a fan of these kind of rolled up button tab type of sleeves, I am simply going to remove it. And yeah, that's so easy. Just chop this interior tab here, and then I'm just going to remove the exterior button and then repeat it with the other sleeve. So the first thing I'm going to work on here is the collar, and this is a really simple collar, and it's super easy to work with because it doesn't have anything that folds down. There's no buttons. It's going to be super straightforward, which is great. And I've grabbed a round doily, and all I'm going to do is fold it in half. And because I want this to, you know, kind of embellish all the way around, I'm just going to line it up with the edge of the collar here and see how far half of this stretches around. And it appears actually to go pretty much to exactly the middle of the back. So that means when I cut this in half into two pieces, I will have a piece for each side of the collar, and each one will be long enough to go from the end of the collar to the middle, which will then give me a nice kind of rounded double edge in the back as well. So let's do that right now. So I have my doily folded fairly evenly in half. I mean, it can't really be perfect because it's handmade and none of the edges are perfectly straight, so it's good enough though. And now I'm just going to chop through that folded edge. So now I have two pretty equal pieces. Let's go pin them around the collar. So I'm just going to start at one end and fold that doily to the inside, with the chopped edge, of course, going to the inside. And that looks okay. And now just pin it in place, and then I'm just going to go stitch it on. Very easy. This is such a super simple embellishing technique. Okay, so I have the doily collar on, and it looked pretty good, but I wanted something even more extravagant, so I grabbed my stash of vintage cream colored and white lace, and I took a piece, and it's really stiff, this one, so I thought, hey, let's put it on upside down. And yeah, I just went all around the collar with it, and I think it's going to look pretty cool because it's stiff enough that it's going to stand up on its own. So yeah, I'm super excited for this to be done. So now let's go fancy up those sleeve cuffs. So for the sleeve cuffs, I was initially thinking to use these two square doilies and just cut out the center and then pop them over top of the ends of the sleeves, and then it would be kind of like a pointed sleeve cuff, I guess. But then I kind of second guessed myself and thought, no, these are so pretty and they're matching, and I know I want to use them probably for something better in the future. So instead, I grabbed this doily, which actually you can see is stained here. And so what I'm going to do is chop out this centerpiece and just use this part here and stitch it all the way around the sleeve cuffs, and that should give me a really cool looking bell that is going to then match the collar. So let's go do it. So when I'm chopping my doilies up, I always like to cut it as close to the finished edges as possible of the piece that I'm going to be using immediately. And this one you can see is so super simple. All I have to do is chop these little knots here, and then I will have this whole nice finished edge to the piece that I'm going to be using. So my centerpiece is chopped out, and I think I'm going to put this in my pile of items to be dyed, and it will be used again in the future, but it will be a cool different color to get rid of these stains here. And now we can attach this part to the sleeves. So first I cut that round piece into 2 equal but separate pieces. So as you can see, I undid the button on the cuff, and I'm going to stitch these on just below the buttonhole because I want this to be kind of free and hanging. I do not want it to be attached to the full sleeve here. And I'm just going to fold one of the edges around the edge of the sleeve there, and then just go stitch it all the way around. Okay, my sleeve cuffs are done, and they look really, really awesome, actually. To finish off the chopped edges here of the doilies, I just folded it in and carefully did a tight zigzag, and that should really help to prevent fraying, which I'm sure could happen because it's the chopped edge of a doily. Anyway, so my collar is done, my cuffs are done, and you know, I could be done, but I don't want to be done yet because these buttons here just are not doing it for me. So I think it's time to have a look through my vintage button stash, and let's find some that are gonna look cool with all of these doily additions. So these buttons are way too big, but I just wanted to share with you this very, very cool little, I guess, button packaging. This is actually from the 1950s and clearly from Germany because the brand name is Koch und Hochwald, and I actually got them when I lived in Germany. But how cool is this? So the buttons are all kind of on this little, these little, I don't know, almost like fork tines here. And yeah, then that's how you store them. And how cool is that? That is so awesome. And I mean, I just think they absolutely should still make these kind of things nowadays, don't you think? But they don't. You know, everything comes in awful plastic packaging, but look how compact this is, and clearly it has lasted for what, 60, 70 years? So I think something was done right with these buttons and this packaging back in the day. So I managed to find 6 buttons in my stash that are all identical, and they're pretty much the exact same size as these original buttons. So I'm gonna go stitch them on, and then we can try it on and style it up.
This, I mean, again, another one that came out so much better than I thought it was going to. And I am so happy that I decided to add this extra lace here up on the top, and my hair kind of pushes it down, but I think if I added a really cool brooch here, it would, first of all, keep this closed if I wanted it closed ever, and it would look really kind of Victorian chic, if you will. So again, simply switching out the buttons, adding a brand new doily cuff to the sleeve ends here. It made the sleeves longer, first of all, which was great, but also it just really elevates the look of this jumpsuit now. It is no longer boring. The same thing here, switching out the buttons here, adding this this collar, how simple was this, but it truly makes such a massive impact and difference. Now, yeah, let's see how we can style this up for a costume. I'm thinking an adult, more mature Wednesday Addams might wear something like this. Check out my Fall Refashions playlist for more awesome autumn tips, tricks, and tutorials, as well as all of my seasonal playlists. Plus, you know, the rest of my channel is full of wonderful refashionista tutorials to transform your entire wardrobe and even your house for very little money, or no money at all, quite frankly, most of the time. Anyway. Also, check out my refashionistasherry.com. I mean, over there you will find the links to my blog, which has literally hundreds of free tutorials, as well as my courses, my ebooks. I mean, you name it, it is over there, refashionistasherry.com. And until next time, stay safe, stay well, and I'll catch ya on the zigzag. Oh, so cool, so cool.
This is Confessions of a Refashionista.